Yo, what's up, guys? We just got back from Phoenix over the weekend, and I just had a couple thoughts that I wanted to share in regards of training with Aeon and training for Hyrox and all of these different things. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of dive and stream a little bit, hopefully share relatively coherently, the what I believe is the best approach for training for Hyrox with Aeon. One, the way that we train for Aeon, it's going to make you very durable. It's going to make you very strong, and it's going to make you really good at like kind of upper, higher threshold intensities, especially in the wintertime because we're not able to run outside. We don't have run club and stuff like that. And so, looking at that, you have a strong athlete who's durable, sled push, sled pull. These things aren't too much of an issue. Maybe wall balls get easier, and then like pushing fast, you get a lot better at higher intensities, shorter efforts. And so you look at that athlete and you think, okay, well, what is Hyrox? Hyrox is a workout that's roughly an hour, hour and 15, hour and a half, somewhere in there, depending on your level of athleticism at the moment, we'll say. And, how do we shape and train an athlete to be able to get better at those things? Well, if class is taking care of your muscular strength, a lot of your muscle capacity in terms of the lifting and the sled push and the sled pulls and stuff, and then your upper threshold stuff, what do you need to take care of on your own? And the number one thing is overall efficiency. They say that as you become more efficient in your cardiorespiratory system, which is your heart and lungs working together to get oxygen to your muscles, you create new blood vessels and new pathways. And the whole idea of endurance and efficiency is how well does your body take in oxygen and deliver it to your muscles, because your muscles need that oxygen to be able to function. It pushes out CO2, you exhale that, and then you pull in more oxygen, right? Like that's the name of the game. Chris Rugloski is a efficiency monster. Okay, she can do that for hours. That's why she can do a Hyrox and do Leadville extremely well, right? And so the main things that I want you to look at is, one, we are limited by class time. We do this, kind of on purpose because we have to, you have to get to work, and we have to get, we have to be as efficient as possible to make your life schedule kind of line up. And two, if we're efficient with our class time, it also gives you the time and space to be able to specialize. And if you want to be a sub 60 athlete and also train with Aeon, you have to specialize in training. Okay, I personally, I probably take class 5 days a week, something like this, and I have since the very beginning, maybe 6 days a week sometimes, most of the time. And on top of that, I'll spend about 2 or 3 hours on my own doing additional training, maybe sometimes 5 if I'm closer to a race. And so that looks like, roughly 10 to 12 hours a week of training, which is kind of necessary for you to be able to run a sub 60 Hyrox, whether that's solo. Solo is probably higher, and then doubles is around 10 hours. I would guess solo is about 15 hours and doubles is about 10 hours. And so, what should that work look like on your own? A lot of it should be really easy cardio efficiency training. Can your body keep moving and keep delivering blood at a zone 1, zone 2, potentially zone 3 heart rate? Did you do workouts that were cardio based for longer than the Hyrox itself is going to take? If you estimate that you and your partner are going to do a mixed doubles, so let's say Aaron and I were trying to do a mixed doubles in sub 60 in Sweden, we should be able to run at an hour and a half at zone 3. Zone 3, zone 4 is about what we're going to be pushing in for our Hyrox. We should be able to hold our Hyrox pace for about an hour and a half. To be able to do that first, we have to be able to run for an hour and a half at zone 1. Once we check that box, we have to be able to run for an hour and a half at zone 2. Once we check that box, we have to do it at zone 3. And if you can't do it running, you have to be able to do it biking. And there's all these different components that go in to being a real fast Hyrox athlete. And so if we take that note and we say, we need to add this additional efficiency training, which is not necessarily power output training, maybe one threshold workout on your own per week. But outside of that, it's the easy, it's the zone 2, it's the zone 1. If you look at Hunter McIntyre, dude trains like 20 hours a week, and almost half of that is zone 1, zone 2 training on a bike or running, which is absolutely insane. He's gotten so efficient that that's a pretty fast pace. But at the beginning, it's not going to be that fast of a pace. You just have to get efficient. And once you get efficient, you'll get faster and faster and faster. Okay? And then number two, the second thing that I want to say that I was kind of noticing is, there's a lot of people that didn't hit the race goal that they expected. And if there's one thing that seems to be true, it's that, someone will set a goal and they'll set a really strong goal. Let's just say it's sub 60, and they'll train for that. And within about, let's say they were a 105 athlete and they're trying to go sub 60. They'll train and they'll specialize for that sub 60 for about, 4 to 6 weeks. And around that time frame, they would probably hit it. They would probably hit their sub 60 goal if they were racing. But what happens is, they're training with intensity and they're training with really high volume, and they start to peak. And then instead of racing at that time, the race is still 4-6 weeks away. And instead of continuing to just scale up, they start to crash down in performance because they're training too much. They're not deloading this high intensity, higher volume training. And so they start to crash out. One, they're not doing the zone 1, zone 2. They're doing zone 3, zone 4 workouts all the time, which will get you fast really quickly. But then you'll start to crash out because you can't maintain that intensity for very long. And so it's very important that you do these cycles and waves of training intensity and peaking for your race. If your race is, let's say, for example, Sweden is 1, 2, 3, 4 months out, something like this for me. I'm going to have a big volume block for February, March, to where I get really good at volume. I'm going to start to peak, my speed, and then drop down and recover, and then get fast again, drop down and recover, and then get fast again and peak for that race. That's what I'm going to do. But you have to drop down and recover and let your body rest and reset and adapt to these gains. You can't just beat it down, because once you get to that race, you're going to get beat down. The 2 weeks leading up to your race, your goal should be to feel as fresh and ready as possible, because your fitness is not going to really go away in those 2 weeks. It's just not. What's going to build it is the 8 to 12 weeks leading up to where you build, recover, build, recover, and just go into this wave and cycle to where you're peaking for your race. And so, if you're an athlete that's looking to go sub 60-ish or just really improve their Hyrox in general, first thing you need to look at, am I doing extra zone 1, zone 2 training to where my capacity and baseline for my endurance system can handle even just the time that my race will be? So let's say an hour and 15. It should be at least 30 minutes above that. So if I want to do sub 60 with Aaron, I should be able to hold a zone 2 heart rate for an hour and a half, okay? Whether that's running or biking. I should also once I do that, I should be able to do it at zone 3, right? But, weekly, I should hit that hour and a half mark maybe twice, something like that. I should be doing it twice a week. So my body gets really efficient at pumping that blood and that oxygen for that time frame, right? And then once you look at that, and once you kind of have this endurance piece down, you need to make sure that you're looking at your phases in your training and your extra stuff that you're doing outside of class to where you're not beating yourself into the ground. If you're feeling really good and you're peaking and you're feeling awesome like the man, take that, and as soon as you start to feel like you're getting worn down, take a week, drop your volume a little bit, recover, and then go back and start to build that volume and that intensity back in. And I just, I recommend this as we go into Vegas, Miami, Cancun, whatever it is that you're racing for the rest of the year, or even if you're qualified for Worlds for Sweden, look at those phases, look at that extra easy cardio that you're doing, and I think that would be really helpful. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me. Hopefully this is helpful. But yeah, love you, gang. Great fucking work. All right. I guess last thing I'll add, Hyrox is really hard. Okay. And a lot of people make fun of Hyrox or shit on or whatever. It's fucking hard. And it's not for the weak. That's for sure. Especially if you're holding a certain pace. It's really easy to run an hour and a half Hyrox because you're just jogging, you're having fun, and that's completely fine. But if you're pushing for that 60-minute mark, it is hard, it is painful. And, I commend all of you, whether you're just having fun in your Hyrox or you're pushing your speed. So, good work, guys. Let's go.